Okay, we're going to get started. It looks like we have a good crowd joining, and we're here for the Barton Hills Water and Wastewater Renewal public meeting. I want to start with just a few logistics. So if you're having any trouble using Zoom or you just want to get a message to the staff who are on this meeting, you can use the chat and you can choose chat to host and panelist. And feel free to send us a message if you need to get some help or you just want to send information to the project team. If you chat to everyone, then everyone will see it. When we get to the question and answer part of the meeting, we will ask you to put questions into the Q&A button. So if you click on that, you can submit a question. And we also will be glad to unmute your mic and let you ask questions and just have a conversation with us. And I'll provide instructions for how to do that when we get to that part of the meeting. So our agenda tonight, we started with welcome and we'll do our project team introductions next. Then our project manager will give an overview of the project and what to expect during construction. And that's a fairly brief presentation, and then we'll dedicate as much time as we need to questions and answers. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from you all who are in attendance. So now I'll hand it over to Anna to start our introductions.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Anna Seibert. I'm the project manager from Public Works on this project. And Oscar Arredondo is going to be the inspection or construction inspector.
I'm Oscar, and I'll be the inspector in the job for most of the part time.
Good evening. My name is Reza Aguili. I am with the Renewing Austin program. I will be the project sponsor for this project.
Hello, James Blankenship. I'll be the project manager for JKB Construction, the contractor on the project.
Hello, my name is Sharon Teague. I'm the engineer of record with the City of Austin, Public Works Engineering Services Division.
Thank you all, and I'm Emily Chancellor, and I work in the communications group at Austin Water, and so I'll be supporting this project team to help them get communications out to residents throughout the project and help them set up this meeting, those sort of things. So I'm going to hand it over to Reza to give a little bit of background now about the program that this project is under. And it looks like Reza might need just a moment. You're muted.
Hi, yes. So this project is under the Renewing Austin program. This program replaces water main pipelines that have history of breaks or have shown some signs of deterioration. The project also replaces wastewater lines that are in need of renewal. Renewing Austin program was initiated in 2011. And since then, we have replaced or relocated over 100 miles of water main pipelines. This is to improve reliability and resiliency of the utility services. The program replaces about 8 to 10 miles per year.
Awesome.
Thank you, Reza. Appreciate that. Are you ready,
Thank
Anna?
you.
Yeah, I'm going to hand it
Yes.
over to you, and she'll take you through the project.
All right, yes, thank you. So I'll go over the project overview. So there's about 9,300 linear feet of aging water and wastewater lines that are going to be replaced as part of this project. 23 fire hydrants will be replaced, and some will be placed in new locations to meet current spacing requirements. Construction is scheduled to start this month, February 2023, and will take around 15 months to complete, and roads will be resurfaced after construction. Next slide. So this is the project map for the area we'll be working in. So work will be starting on Deverne Street by Blue Bonnet, and we'll move west. As construction progresses, we'll be sending out updates of where you can expect construction to be. Next slide. So this project will use open trench cutting. Open cut is a method of pipeline installation that requires opening up the surface of the street to the required depth for installing a pipeline. So these images that you can see on the screen show what you can expect to see. The contractor will dig a trench and then they'll cover up everything in the evening at the end of their workday. And the crews will coordinate with homeowners and residents and alert them ahead of time if there are any access challenges while they're working in front of homes and driveways. Next slide. So the contractor will use heavy equipment to dig these trenches for the new pipelines, and the roads will be patched after the line is installed. All roads will be repaved at the end of the project. Crews will work in front of your property a number of times to complete each phase of the project, including excavation, pipe installation,
I'm sorry, I had everything froze up for me. So you're waiting for me to advance?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a Zoom glitch there, so I'm glad we're back. Okay, here we go.
All right, awesome, thank you. So most of the work will be limited to the right-of-way. In a lot of cases, this might be 10 to 15 feet behind the curb in an area that you might consider part of your lawn. Some storm drain work will be done between homes and existing easements if applicable. And it might be necessary for you to remove landscaping or other personal items in the right-of-way before new service lines are connected. So this image shows where a meter box might be located in the right-of-way. And this is what we'll need to connect to service or connect to for service. Another thing to note is our contractor will be photographing the streets and the existing condition of the right-of-way before they start work. They typically do this with drones. So if you see something like this, it's the contractor recording the existing site conditions so they can do their work. Next slide. And the contractor may also need to do some tree trimming over the right-of-way if trees are hanging lower than 14 feet to ensure that there's a clear work area. So just something to look out for. Next slide. So streets will be closed to through traffic with detours provided. You'll have access to your home. However, for brief periods of time, driveway access might be limited. And again, the contractor will coordinate with residents if there are access challenges. For utility service, there might be a point where your water or wastewater service will be temporarily interrupted to connect the new line. But it's likely just for a couple hours or a few hours on a single day. So we'll notify you by flyers posted on the door prior to turning off the water. Emergency outages are possible. So should a water line break during construction, it will be treated as an emergency break and will be handled as quickly as possible. And then for a project like this, general working hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And weekend work will be scheduled as needed. See, next slide. Yeah, perfect. And if you'd like to stay up to date on the project, you can sign up to receive updates by email at austintexas.gov/bartonhills. Notice will be provided to residents at least 48 hours in advance of a water shutoff. This will be done by either the project inspector or the contractor leaving notices at your door. And this meeting is being recorded and it'll be available for you to reference if you'd like. You should be able to find it at that website. That's it for me. Emily, did we want to open it up for questions, or do you want to touch quickly on the how folks can submit questions.
Sure, yeah, I'd be glad to. So if you've called in by phone, then you can press *9 to let us know that you'd like to speak. You can type questions into that question and answer box. Look for the Q&A on your Zoom toolbar. And if you want to speak, feel free to just click the raise your hand button. I think it's under reactions. And we'd be glad to unmute you and let you ask your questions. So I see that a question is coming in. All right, our first question. With the main replacement on Deverne, does that mean Deverne will take longer? What is the expected timeline for Deverne? So Anna or James, do one of you want to talk about this? And I know I can just say in general, you know, the timeline can vary, and so we will be giving updates as it progresses when we're moving on to the next. But if you have, James, some feedback on that, that would be great.
Yes, hold on just a second. I was trying to find our latest schedule we had on that job.
Sure.
Let's see. Here we go.
And I'm going to click back to the map so we have that for reference.
So we've got, if we start, say the middle, say next week, I think is what we have right now. It'll probably be, if not next week, probably the 20th. Deverne will take a little longer than the rest of the streets because there is water and wastewater on it. That being said, we should be done probably the second or third week in May is what we show right now. That's
Okay.
including pushing it back a week. So say the 10th or 12th of May.
So that's your current estimate for that work on Deverne. So will you do the wastewater line first and then do the water
will
line?
go first. Yeah, wastewater will go first. It's the deepest. So what will probably happen is we'll open cut wastewater main, run the services basically to your property line or just behind the curb. At that point, we test the line, we coat the manholes, and then we'll go through and come back and start hitting each one of the services and actually making it go live into the existing waste or into the wastewater main, and then in turn go into the existing wastewater main. And the same will be done for your water services as well. Those will it won't take as long with the water because it's less deep, but we will go behind your property line, or not behind your property line, sorry, behind the curb line, stop it, test it, then go back and connect each one of those.
So James is talking about sort of the phasing. So they'll put the new main in the street, and then they will put the service line in that goes from the main to either your water meter or your wastewater cleanout. And so those are the phases that they'll be doing on each street.
Correct. And then obviously fire hydrants, those will go in as the installation. There won't be any stop and going on that. So we'll run right off the main, go behind the curb where it's supposed to go, and then backfill it.
Okay. All right, we have a couple of other questions. How long will the street be closed, and how long are driveways blocked typically?
As far as the street, I mean, it's just going to be the duration of so let's use Deverne for an example. So that street will be shut down from, say, the third week in February to the second week in May. And when I say shut down, like obviously the residents will be able to access the road, but as far as through traffic, that won't happen. The driveways, what we typically do on those is we notify the resident that we're in front of their house at the time, give them an opportunity to pull their car out, put it on the street or away from that location. Once we get past it, if it's an emergency or something like that, we do have street plates, which basically it's like a plywood sheet, but it's a thick metal plate. And it goes over the trench. It allows you to back over the top of it without, obviously entering the trench. Once that's complete, but typically we backfill every night. So unless it's just something that, emergency wise on y'all's end, then we would be backfilled by that day or that night. So you'd be driving on it by the next day.
So James, I think that they were kind of wondering, like, you do have to work right in front of their driveway when you're working on the trench there. And is that typically within one day that you're kind of in that area right in front of their driveway?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Typically it is. Like I said, we probably between 3 and 4 houses in a day we'll be working in front of.
Okay.
So again, one of the keys of that is making sure, obviously, the if people were able to move their cars, the ones that are parked on the street or even in the driveway, if you're able to push those down, anything to do kind of get out of our way makes it a lot easier.
So the crew will be knocking on doors that morning before they start the work that would block the driveway. So if you could answer, or at least, be alert when they're knocking to give you that update, then you'll have the opportunity to move your car so you can get in and out during that day whenever you need to or whenever you want to. Okay, next question is, will Deverne be paved after, oh, I'm sorry, something popped. I think I clicked something wrong. Okay, will Deverne be paved after completion of Deverne or after the whole project is done?
We are going to try to pave these in sections as they get done. The more than likely Deverne will be, and Barton Skyway will be. The rest of them will probably take out larger chunks. So as we're working in Rockingham, Terrace Circle, Homedale Circle, those will take a large chunk out of that. So I would say Deverne, we're probably going to break this whole job up into 4 mobilizations in paving and milling. So I would say Deverne is one, Barton Skyway is another, and then and Barton Skyway might actually be a part of this one. But if you can imagine, Barton Parkway all the way down in those little side streets will probably be broken up into 3. Deverne's just
Okay.
different because it's kind of by itself, and so is Barton Skyway.
Thanks, James.
But they'll be able to be driven on. Like if for whatever reason we don't pave it right when we get done in these sections, we'll have what they call cold mix, which is it's a asphalt material, but it's not permanent. We roll it in the same, but it's not, what you're going to see for the street. So you'll just basically see it over the top of the trench.
Thank you. So just to kind of recap, and every contractor has a different approach, so it's good to hear from James that his company plans to do the repaving in phases and not save it all to the end. And he's giving you some indication of how they plan to break it up, but I just want to caution that could change, and we will be sending out updates. I'll work with Anna, the project manager, and the team, and so we'll send out updates when those repavings are scheduled to give you a heads up that they're coming. But it sounds like you will be getting a nice smooth road, and you won't have to wait for the whole project to be finished. So that's a nice benefit for the residents. Anything anyone wants to add on that? Okay, I'll go to the next question. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry, I've read that one. Which side on Barton Parkway is the work? Barton Parkway has a ditch down the middle.
The majority of the work is on I guess it'd be the east side of the street, but it does, I guess, kind of right there by West Ridge Drive, it does cross over and go to the west side, but the intersections and all that will be pretty much down the middle or through the center of the intersection. And then obviously the services, if we're working on the east side of the drive, that west side service will be crossing all the way across. So for every house that's on the west side, if you're on the east, it will go all the way across the road.
Thank you. Okay. So someone has said, sounds like James has a rough timeline. Can you share what that timeline is by street? Understand it as a current estimate. So Anna, I think that's probably for you to take.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we do want to kind of be kind of thoughtful about the timeline in terms of, things could come up where one street gets moved up, versus another, because there could be unforeseen challenges or things of that nature. So that's something that James will be kind of updating us and updating the rest of we'll be passing on to y'all once we know, because we just have to make sure we're understanding all of the conditions as they're out there working.
Thank you. I'm reviewing the questions to make sure. I think that I've asked them all, all the ones that have come in so far. And again, if you'd like to speak, feel free to raise your hand or just type something in the chat or in the Q&A and let us know that you want to speak, and we'll be glad to unmute your mic and call on you. Let's see, I've done that one. Checking them off here.
And I guess, Emily, I can add that right now the current status is that James's crew is waiting on final right-of-way permits that allow them to work within the right-of-way. So once we get the news about that being processed and approved, then we can update folks on the email list with a status of when work is actually going to be starting. But that's kind of the only thing pending right now.
Right. Yes, and I did put in the chat at the beginning of the meeting the link to our project website. So it's austintexas.gov/bartonhills. And you can find there where you can sign up to get emails about the project. I've also put up on the screen the project team contacts. And you heard from Oscar briefly earlier, and I always like to spend a little time talking about what the construction coordinator or inspector's role is, because they really make these projects work. And you will see Oscar out on site, and he is the city's representative for this project. So he'll be working with the contractor to help them troubleshoot, to oversee their work, and he also will be a contact for residents. So we've provided his mobile phone number here, and you are welcome and encouraged to call him if there's a concern about access or if you have a question about the work. Sometimes folks want to know where the work will be happening, and often our construction coordinator can stop by with his set of plans and show you, on the plans, like where the line's going in and where that relates to your property. So Oscar, don't mean to put you on the spot, but I just know that you and your colleagues are just like the glue that makes all this happen, and you're a great liaison to the community. Anna and I, of course, will be available also to answer questions. Feel free to contact us, but you're going to be seeing Oscar's face out there more than ours. So anything you want to add, Oscar, or talk about now?
Thank you.
Sure.
I'll be on site most of the time. I'm always going to be just there supervising in a way. If anything happens, if anybody has any questions, if I can get you the answer, I will look for the answer and try to get that to you. I'm there to help you, to make you understand what's going on if you have any doubts, and just to make sure the project goes pretty well. Everybody's safe and sound and turns out good.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, Rick, can you help me? We have Todd who's on the call and would like to speak. Can you help me get him unmuted? All right, we're working on making the Zoom magic happen back here. Rick, are you able to do that, or should I try to do it?
You should be able to now.
Okay, I think you can unmute, Todd. If you see the mute button on your Zoom toolbar, I think you're able to talk now. So Todd, if you see on the toolbar, it's kind of a black bar usually, and I think there's a microphone button there. I think you should be able to unmute yourself. Here, I'm going to click this. We may have lost Todd. Well, hopefully he will rejoin and we'll be able to hear from him. In the meantime, let's see if we have other questions coming in. And, you know, this is certainly not our last time to be able to talk with residents. We have our contact information here and on the project webpage. So if Zoom is not your favorite forum for having conversations, feel free to pick up the phone and call Anna or call one of us on the team. We'll be glad to talk with you over the phone or meet on site if necessary. So this is the sort of like part of the meeting where I have the awkward pauses just to make sure there aren't more questions coming in. I have tried telling knock-knock jokes. It hasn't gone over very well. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of like hang around here for a minute or two more to see if more questions come in or if anyone wants to speak. I appreciate you all spending your time, and we will, as Anna mentioned, get a recording of the meeting up on the website. It'll take a few days, so by hopefully next week you'll be able to see that and share it with any neighbors who didn't make it to this Zoom meeting. And I don't see anything else coming in. So any final comments from my project team?
No, ma'am.
No, just thanks for joining us.
Okay, well, thank you all. I'm sorry, did I speak over someone?
No, I was just saying thanks for coming in today.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you all for being here, and get in touch with us if you need anything, and have a great night.